Uh, guys, I don't know about you, but I'm just tired. Seriously, I just don't care about what you ask. Stick around and find out, and welcome back to Talk to Me, Taylor. I've missed you.
Deemed the Celebrity Whisperer by Playboy.
This is the best interview of the day.
Thanks for having me.
You hit the nail on the head.
100%.
Period, yeah.
Touchdown. You're cracking me up.
Wear them, baby. This is good.
Taylor Ferber.
All right, I am really wishing that Joe Biden allocated at least a few of his 5,000 days of vacation over to me here at Talk to Me Taylor because I'm just so tired and I'm over it. And I'll tell you what I'm over. I'm pretty much over actually everyone and everything. All right. And tell me if you feel me on this. It's like I have chronic content fatigue. You know, somebody wave down RFK Jr., send an SOS, a sign of life. Is there a remedy? Because I'm just sick of it. I am sick of everyone saying the same old shit. Let's be honest. And I don't care what sector it's in. I don't care if it's in politics, in each respective political party doing one giant circle jerk. I don't care if it's the person next door pop culture influencer giving yet another hot take on Blake Lively, like everybody on the same hamster wheel. I'm so over it. And we're so bombarded with this shit all of the time. And everybody is literally just saying the same thing. Okay. I was with family, for example, for the last couple of days, which is why I haven't been here. And I miss you guys. I miss you, YouTube. And I had the pleasure of being on a 24/7 Fox News binge against my will, okay? And even these guys, it's like the Jesse Waters and the this and that, and like it's literally time slot after time slot, and they're all of these a-holes are literally saying the same thing one after another. And it's just like you can tell it's this sort of even like on social media, right? It's this sort of like keeping up with the Joneses of all of these influencers thing and like a hot take here, there, and everywhere. And it's like I've heard it, Sally. And I don't mean to be pessimistic, Paula, today, but this is honestly how I'm feeling. And truthfully, it's partially why I haven't been as active here on my show as much as I love and miss it. And it feels so good to be back where I belong, where I feel seen and heard. And I miss you guys so much, but that's partially it. It's like everybody is on this like carousel merry-go-round, like Twilight Zone nightmare of just amnesia, like repeating the same thing. And like, what is there even to say anymore, you know? And it's also why I'm so excited about the new show that I'm doing with Joe Francis, Undressed. You guys, this is where my passions lie right now, aside from this show, of course, and all of you guys. Seriously, if you do not check out this show, I am going to appoint you as one of my interns like Trump and JD Vance just did to Zelensky on the world stage, okay? You are going to be, trust me, obsessed with it. So a little bit of background, by the way, like little shameless plug before we really get into the sitch here. Joe Francis, creator of Girls Gone Wild, and really the man who launched the Kardashians into the stratosphere. And he has the receipts, like literally was in cahoots with Kim for her sex tape, Paris Hilton with her sex tape. He details it on the show, but there's nothing like this show right now. It is basically the way I describe it. It's like what men and women are really thinking said out loud and to each other. And on top of it, it is so politically incorrect. It is so taboo. Like literally, we have shot any chance at getting any sort of sponsorship, okay, in this because we have literally gone after identity politics, Black Lives Matter, suicide, men and women, like literally everything. You name it. I think like dwarves, you know, people with one leg, people with an iPad, you name it. Like everybody and everything has been singled out and thrown under the bus. No, but you will love it. It's so refreshing. And so that's really what I'm so excited about right now. So go check out Undressed Show. It is so much, and it totally captures, by the way, like our dynamic, how men and women really are, right? But it's really like be it culturally or again, like the relationship dynamics or politically, like we say things in a way that everybody else just pussyfoots around. Or in these kinds of things that I'm talking about, just a like jack in the box repeat of one another to where you want to blow your own brains out, right? Like Epstein style or not. So go check out Undressed Show. It's so refreshing. Nothing else like it. You guys will love it and be so entertained. But yes, of course, we have to be in the know to stay informed. Like, we're not trying to be Neanderthals out here, but it's just so tiresome, And I've been lucky enough to be more involved, by the way. Like, I'm loving the live stream space. It's so much fun to interact in real time. So, I am getting projects off of the ground to where you guys can watch and comment in real time, and it'll be much more interactive, right? But even in like more conservative circles, be it like X spaces or whatever it is. And, I have a lot of respect for these people, but same thing. It's like they all say the same thing. It's funny because I was in one the other day and I'm in a room in the spaces of all of these conservatives, right? And they're railing in on Ron DeSantis. Because if you don't know, there's a whole like controversy right now about how Ron DeSantis wants to give the like nepotism award and the DEI award to his wife Casey to be the next Florida governor. And people are really up in arms about this and say he's just part of, establishment politics in the swamp, so to speak, and all of this. And I'm by no means a DeSantis fangirl. And I said this, but I chime in the space again in a sea of all of these loud, proud, MAGA people. And I was like, you guys, again, I agree that he is just like an establishment guy. But let's not forget all of 5 seconds ago, right? We were in the pandemic and this guy was the royalty prince golden child of the free state of Florida and then like going after woke identity politics and all of this stuff. And now you guys are so quick to throw him under the bus. Again, I'm not saying that you have to like once you stick with someone. Of course, you know me, I change my opinions and evolve all the time, which is what we have to do. But it's sort of like to collectively, like one person decides and like Trump went up against, Trump called out DeSantis and didn't like him. So then all the MAGA people followed suit. And so all collectively just gonna like turn our backs on them, ice them out. And I said in the space, like that's the kind of nonsense that the left and cancel culture does, right? So, it's sort of just this like osmosis of groupthink on both sides that I'm just really, really tired of. And I even saw this come to, I don't want to say come to a head, but personified, so to speak, with the Epstein files that were as popping as a piece of Kansas tumbleweed. Like they were talking this up. Like it was going to unearth the ghost of Epstein himself, okay? And I was so excited. Pam Bondi did a whole exclusive on Jesse Waters being like, all of the FBI, they're going to release all this. They invite all these conservative influencers to the White House, give them these binders. They all do a photo like it is the Miss United States pageant with these binders, only to find out that it is 200 pages of log flights and nothingness. Literally, like, I'm more interested at this point in the log flight of the American Airlines one that did a back handspring and like landed upside down. Okay. Like, what does this have any, like, this is a bunch of nothingness, an empty void. And I can't help but think, and again, there's all these politics, no pun intended, in it about, Pam Bondi getting an inside scoop that somebody is holding all of this back. And there's a whistleblower in the FBI saying there's like thousands of pages, but all of the people, the powerful people who still run our country would be implicated. So she's going after that. Anyway, we set our alarms and we set our timers only to see DC Drano and Liz Whelan do a prom picture with these binders full of nothing. And I just feel like this captures all of this. It's like, it's like these people, again, it's almost like another version of Kamala Harris. Like Kamala Harris being on site at the California wildfires only to muster up what it smells like. I'm like, is this a game of Simon Says and Are We Five? Like, what? And it's like these people say so much without saying anything. You know what I mean? And That's why, it's also really interesting, and I feel like a mixed sort of way about new media being allowed into the White House. Now, hear me out. And I applied, by the way. I know this 5'2" blonde. Can you imagine me up in those press holdings and those press briefings? Like, listen, I got Nicole Kidman to talk about boning Keith Urban in the press room backstage at the Golden Globes or whatever award show it was. I'm pretty sure I could get some tea out of Caroline Levin, okay? But I love this initiative. It's like the legacy establishment media have been the Regina George in this B for way too long. And I love the initiative that they're taking to let new age media voices and influencers into the fold. And it's a privilege. She's like, we will bring your ass out on Air Force One. We will get you in this press room. And it is a privilege to be in the most intimate places in the White House, right? In America. And I have to say, while I was like, yes, like, and you guys know how I feel. Like, I have my own burn book about legacy media and mainstream media because I used to be in it and I was calling it out. I was Katie Heron calling it out then from the inside, right? So I've smelled and called out the nonsense forever. So you can see I was doing like aforementioned back handsprings over this. And I have to tell you, I actually saw a clip of Jake Tapper talking about it. And, this guy is a whole other thing. Like, don't even get me started. However, he did make a compelling argument, essentially saying, so what you're doing is, and she said, like, they still will have the legacies like the ABCs and the New York Times and whoever, right? But he essentially said, like, are you booting out all of these people only to replace them, not to bring more into the fold, but replace them with the people who merely are in your corner and in your court, i.e. the Breitbarts, the Newsweeks, et cetera, et cetera. And at first I was like, you made your bed though. Like, again, this is the swing of the pendulum with people so over being lied to and the legacy that is still somehow holding on for dear life to all of their nonsense. Like, I don't even know how. I don't even know how they have a single remnant of a brain cell floating in there that they could still be holding on to these identity politics. It's sort of like you reap what you sow. People have had it for so long. Well, sorry, Charlie, you made your bed and now you had to sleep in it. You guys lied and were corrupt and force false things down our throats for years. And so now this is what you get. And again, like everything in our culture, nothing has chill. Everything is in extremes. I do think it is interesting to look at, okay, so is it just people who are suckling at the Trump teat, as much as I respect Trump and love what he's doing, that are going to get access and get rewarded? I don't love that either. And again, it's all, those are the people with the binders, even the binders that were like basically were as empty as the Grand Canyon. Those are the people. It was all the Trump supporting influencers and all this who got the up in the photo op. And so I don't love that either because it just perpetuates all of this horse shite that I'm talking about and why I'm just over all of it. Like, I don't care. I don't care, And that's why I can really appreciate the people who just don't give a shit, right? I'm trying to say less S words and less B words and less F words all around. But, there's only so much. I never was a truck driver, but I'm sure in a past life I may have done it and slayed at it, okay? And I certainly would have been the ones protesting up in Canada during COVID. But anyways, okay, that's why I appreciate the truly independent people with truly independent thoughts who aren't bought in one way or another. Like the little F's I am giving and I'm paying attention to, aside from the obligatory like news check-in because I have to be somewhat informed to, do what I do. Those are the people I'm paying attention to and that I have a lot of respect for, right? Even if I don't listen to all of his stuff and that he's like, even though he's a little like kooky crazy, but like a Theo Vaughn, right? Who it's like, you never really know where it's going to go. You're like, am I on acid? I've never tried it, but I imagine like an hour inside his brain, that's what it's like. But this sort of like populist, realistic, middle of the road approach, that's really refreshing, like an Andrew Schultz, right? Even Charlemagne the God is like coming around, but it's why I am in this whole new wave right now, an obsession with Candace Owens. I know, talk about people evolving because I would always rag on Candace Owens for being so bought into the conservative box and so like such a grifter and holier than thou. And don't get me wrong, I don't agree with everything that she says, but she too has had this come to Jesus moment. And I really respect her for being like, you know what? I am kind of giving an arm's length and stepping away from politics. And she used to be so in it because she too is so over all of this crap. And you can tell that she's really pursuing what she's passionate about. And I'm obsessed with it. It's literally my religion. She's done the Brigitte Macron series. She's doing the Blake Lively Baldoni whole lawsuit in a way that's the like one person I'm paying attention to be honest. Because again, everyone else is just like repeating each other and like trying to come up with the fastest, newest, coolest hot take. Um, and her newest one now is Harvey Weinstein, which I'm absolutely obsessed with. And I can't wait. And she actually talked to him from prison and is going to unearth all of this stuff about what actually happened. Was he wrongfully convicted? All of this stuff, like back, that was buried in the Me Too movement. But all that to say, I appreciate how she again can see it for what it is, just like myself. It's why even content on this show, guys, might start looking a little bit different because it's all just so tired. And I'm really like, I'm bored with it, you know? And I really appreciate, even in recent episodes, how she's called out fellow conservatives. She's called out Dan Crenshaw for being straight up unhinged, you know? She's called out conservatives on the whole for, while in one like regard, they're all about like the nuclear family and traditional values and a present father figure, but are, you know, fangirls kissing Elon Musk poster at night, despite the fact that he has like 500 baby mamas and obviously isn't present in those children's lives and is just like procreating the entire earth. But they're obsessed with him because he's close to the power that is Trump, right? And that hypocrisy there. So all that to say, I feel seen in that, and I'm in the same boat. I'm totally in the same boat. And I don't care if it's like pop culture and celebrities or politics. It's like we collectively need a rebrand, right? Like, I don't know. I know this guy's been canceled too, but maybe we bring back the founder of Abercrombie. He may have some ideas. I don't know, like white supremacy or not. He may have some ideas in the think tank, okay, of how we, you know, reboot all of this. I actually do have an idea, which is where I'm going to bring our happy ending to in the end here. But, you know, these again are perfect examples, you guys, of big media influencers, voices, hosts, if you will. Oddly enough, all kind of like in the plane crash that was this week, unearthing and rising in the fiery flames of going after one another. So the first one, and not so much, this is more speculative, but is between Alex Cooper and Alex Earl. You don't really need to know much. Like, if you're like, what? Alex Cooper is the host of Call Her Daddy, and she's done a really great job at building a media empire, right? And essentially, like, reviving the Sex in the City, like, women's sex talk, that whole thing. Like, really pretty blonde, obviously smart, the whole thing. Alex Earl is another skinny, pretty blonde. She talks all about, you know, her life and rumors and her travels and her graduation and whatever, like shopping at Limited Too, like whatever. I don't know, whatever she's doing that day, okay? Basically, they were business partners, and Alex Earl, the latter, was signed to Alex Cooper's podcast company, Unwell. And there are all these, you know, whisperings because the show was dropped. One, Alex Earl didn't go to Alex Cooper's Super Bowl party, even though she was in town and went to other parties, whatever. So the girls on my team, you know, they're fresh and in the know, unlike this old bag, told me that it may not be this like contentious, you know, strife between them like everyone's building up. They kept it very sort of like in the statement, they kept it very ambiguous, and their feeling is that Alex Earl, like podcasting is just not her platform. Like she could go off and do so many other things. She's hot, she looks like a model, she's doing Carl's Jr. slow-mo commercials, like the whole thing. Maybe podcasting just wasn't her jive, because they kept the statement something to like, so she can go pursue opportunities that are outside of here. So you're thinking like, is that to shop her podcast around elsewhere? Whatever. Either way, regardless of whether these two are at it or not, even like the internet is weighing in about this, right? Like, oh, Alex Earl is the new Alex Cooper. Alex Cooper needs to take a seat, and say they are at it, And what's funny is there also have been rumors that it had Alex Earl walked away because of money. And I thought, how ironic would that be if that were the case? Because if you remember, that was the issue with Call Her Daddy at Barstool, and the falling out there was all with money, right? But even like Dave Portnoy's gotten in on this and is trolling everybody. But here are my thoughts, is that these women are essentially two sides of the same coin. Like, first of all, physically, you can barely tell them apart. I'm not being mean. They're both got not whores. Not, I was trying to combine gorgeous and hot. Okay. And it came out as whores. No, you do not call women bitches and whores, like Tina Fey famously said. No, they're both gorgeous and hot, of course, but physically I can barely tell them apart. And even like thematically, it's like, okay, one is talking about sex and friendships and relationships, and the other one's talking about sex and friends and relationships in her life. It's like they're not that different. I'm sorry. It's like they're two sides of the same coin. So whether they're going at it personally or even the public to pit them against one another, it's like, what are we even doing here? I'm sorry. It's like they're basically two versions of the same person. So it's just so silly to watch. Same thing happened, what have you, but Joy Reid this week. So, right, that's more like media, trending, lifestyle-y stuff, but then you have politically. Joy Reid was fired because they're doing a whole shakeup over at MSNBC. I don't know, maybe they got the memo that like 5 people are watching their network, right? So they fired her, and it was this whole thing where she was in tears and talking about how important her show was, whatever. And then you had Rachel Maddow have the audacity to go on and basically, she's on the same network and her show has been demoted to like once a week, okay? And go on and call basically like the CEO or the powers that be over there at that network racist, because they fired Joy Reid. Like DEI habits, they die hard, right? So that was that's own little thing. But moreover, what was more fascinating is Megyn Kelly enters the chat, who's a huge conservative commentator, is now, and I don't have to tell you guys know the sitch. So she's on Sirius XM now, and she tweeted basically like rejoicing, no pun intended, about how this is a woman, like, and I've said this too. I've said a version of this, which is like, how has this person, and I meant to do a ChatGPT deep dive on Joy Reid's past, because like how this woman has managed to stay on this network, I think it's been at least since 2016 in a different way, shape, or form for this long, is literally like a miracle from God. Like, I don't even know. But she tweets something to the effect of like, this is a woman who rejoiced in, like, I'm paraphrasing, but rejoiced in white tears and like made up imaginary, racism that like didn't exist in like all of these areas and circumstances, right? So, okay, fine. So that's Megyn Kelly chiming in. But now we have Don Lemon entering the chat. I mean, if you thought Real Housewives was your thing, do I have news for you? Unlike these people with the news, because my point with all this that you'll see is that they're all just pandering the same shit, just on different sides, right? But so Don Lemon enters the chat and yells every expletive at Megyn Kelly in the book. Literally bleep, bleep, bleep this, bleep that, bleep that, bleep, bleep this, right? Go F yourself. I'm a TV host and a Black man, and I've been so for a long time, and here's what I think about that, right? And with all of this, it's mind numbing. It's like, it's all these just like daggers being thrown, okay? You would think these people are literally trying to revive the real world, and it's just not in a way that's cute. Unlike what I'm going to get to in a way that, because let's be real, like all of the world is a stage, okay, as we are seeing. And you can do it skillfully and artfully or not. And there are people who are doing it artfully that I'm going to get to, right? Because let's be real, we're all shameless, sweetheart. We are all doing it for the cameras at all times. But they're just below the belt, complete insults, one after the other. And I thought the same thing that I thought about the Alex Squared situation, which is how just, I mean, entertaining, yes, but also it's like mind numbing. And I'm just dumbfounded watching it because I'm like, these people are going at each other's throats and don't even realize that they are literally, again, two sides of the same coin. They are two versions of the same thing. Be it Rachel Maddow, Joy Reid, Don Lemon, right? And they're, I don't want to even say these people give progressives a bad name, okay? In their little lefty leftist box, pandering. God forbid they can even hear or say something otherwise. And Megyn Kelly, same thing on the conservative side. And Megyn Kelly, by the way, and Candace Owens called her out recently, is filled of contradictions and hypocrisies, right? So both of these parties do it. And so again, to see them going at each other, like this is the imbecile Squid Games, is just silly. Because the truth is, none of these people that I've mentioned are that much of a free thinker, original, breaking out of the box to where they can be like, yeah, sit down. And it's like they're all carbon copies of the same thing. They really are. Sorry, none of them are original. I said it. And so to go at each other, you guys just literally look like a circus, okay? So it was cute for 5 seconds on our feeds, and yet again, we are over it. This may come as a shock to you guys, but with that said, I don't know how much I'm going to be partaking in Gavin Newsom's new podcast. Yeah, I know. This is Newsom or something, and it's so funny because he's like, this guy is so, I mean, his like hair gel must be blocking his eyes and his ears because not only did it prevent him from bringing like 2 water bottles over to like literally couldn't even muster up that much over to all of Los Angeles burning to the ground, but he somehow now is just realizing this new wave of media that was so advantageous for Trump during the election, right? Like again, what really speaks to people, not this, garbage on MSNBC. But again, the full sense, the Theo Vons, the Joe Rogans, all of this. So Gavin Newsom is starting up this new initiative and he wants it to be like not the political BS. Like he's so fake, like Kamala Harris, it's not even funny. It's like, I don't even know why these people cannot not be robots for all of 5 seconds of their existence. Like, do you think that they're like this during sex? I need to know. Like, do you think that they are like, I hereby say that the way to do this right now is missionary. And here's like, it's just like also robotic. And so he's trying to do this to like be more human and have conversations even with people he doesn't agree with. Like it looks like Charlie Kirk's going to come on, whatever. But either way, it's just like, it just all feels so fake. Okay. It just all feels so fake. And I'm over it. Let me make it clear again. Okay. I don't care. But let me tell you who and what I do care about. Oddly enough, I feel like the most don't give an F and truly like I don't care and authentic voices aren't necessarily I mean, again, there are the chosen few of media personalities and influencers, but where I really feel like it's coming from right now is from the people on Trump's team and in this administration. And I have to say, it is really inspiring and badass to watch. You have Trump himself, even look at today, I'm shooting this on Friday, what JD Vance and he pulled off with Zelensky. Okay. Have you ever heard or seen a vice president like JD Vance talk like that? Like he is like reaming in to Zelensky, saying how disrespectful he is. And Trump is sitting there. I'm like, I don't know what Trump is thinking. And then Trump is basically doubles down and he's like, what he said, right? Like it is just such a boss power move of full on, no holds barred authenticity and power. And you see that trickle down with every single one of these people. You see it with Carolyn Levitt, who I think is doing, I don't know if it's Caroline or Carolyn, but either way, I respect her. She's doing such an amazing job of not needing a binder. You talk about the empty Epstein binders. How about this last lady with the binder, or Pasaki? How could we forget with the circling back, like she's on a racetrack? Okay, circle back, circle back. Like this girl doesn't need notes binders. She's just so authentic and pulls no punches and is so in everybody's face and is so on top of it, right? Even like Pam Bondi, Kristi Noem, The border czar, Tom, what's his name? Like, I'm literally afraid of him. And like, he's like, I look under my bed for him at night. But Elon Musk showing up to the cabinet meeting when everyone's in their suit and ties, literally in a t-shirt that says tech support, right? And all around, it's so inspiring to watch because you could tell that they're all on the same page, but I've never seen anything like it. It's so unprecedented in this truly like they're all so different, but it's also like collectively they just have this like I don't give a fuck energy. And it is so contagious and it's so refreshing. That's what I'm watching. That's what I care about. And that is the kind of stuff that I want to see. Because think about it, especially right now in our culture, we are so sick of fakeness, of everyone saying the same thing. And to come out blazing like against the world, against whoever, and being like, here's what I think, here's what it is. Like, that is it. That's it. Like, name something for me that is bigger dick energy than that.